Hello and welcome to Commodity Culture, where our goal is to make you a better investor in the commodities space. My name is Jesse Day. Before we dive in, standard disclaimer: nothing here is investment advice. Do your own due diligence. And today's episode is brought to you by ARC Silver Gold Osmium. They offer personalized service and competitive prices with no minimum purchase for silver, gold, platinum, or osmium. Here's just some of the comments left on this YouTube channel about ARC SGO and owner Ian Everard. Have bought from ARC, good source and price. I cannot say enough good about Ian and his company. He is the most honest individual I could find in order to buy precious metals. If you are looking to buy precious metals, I recommend Ian at ARC Silver. He is a straight shooter. So go to arcsgo.com and contact Ian Everard today at 307 264 9441 or by email at ian@arcsgo.com, and make sure to tell him that Commodity Culture sent you. And today's guest is a pioneer trend strategist, a best-selling author, the founder of the Trends Research Institute, and the publisher of the Trends Journal. Is Gerald Celente. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Always love talking to you. I want to start with a broad question, and that is, what are the main trends when it comes to the global economy, financial markets, and geopolitics that you think more people should be paying attention to? I know it's a big question, but feel free to take it wherever you'd like.
Well, on the economic front, it's what we're talking about, writing about since May of 2020 that's out of the news. And that's the office buildings going bust. Tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here to see where we're going. And again, these are my books, Trends 2000, international bestseller, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends Time Magazine, Trends Journal. There's how happy this guy is. Nobody knows about this anymore. They don't talk about it. The United States overthrow the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in Ukraine in 2014. But going back, the COVID war. In May of 2020, we said that by forcing people to work from home, this is going to be a lasting trend because people are going to realize how much they hate commuting to work an hour and a half each day or whatever, spending all that money. And then the person that's the employer says, I got hundreds of people in 10 floors of buildings, 10 stories here. They're in cubicles. I don't see them anyway. I don't need all this space. There's going to be an office building bust. California was the first state to lock down. Your office vacancy rate, meaning nobody in them, in San Francisco in 2019, before the COVID war, was 3.5%. Now, 37% vacant. Now let's take a trip across America and around the world. Oh, the Canary Wharf over there in UK? Oh, the HSBC, they're pulling out, right? Oh, how about you have on average 20% of the offices are vacant. Nobody there. Vacant. Now, let's say I'm the guy that owns the building or the group that owns the building. I got my loan coming up. How am I going to pay it? My tenants left. Oh, and these are interest rate loans. And the interest rate is double what it was when they bought the building. So now your interest rates are way up. Your income's way down. You're going to default on the loan. That's going to bring down the banks. There's going to be a banking bust, the likes of which we've never seen in the history of the world, part one or part two. No one's talking about it. Now, when they launched the COVID war, they artificially propped up the economies by dumping in trillions and trillions of dollars of money backed by nothing and printed on nothing and zero interest rate policy. So everybody's throwing money into the banks, right? What did the banks do with that money? Oh, they bought treasuries. Oh, when they were with zero interest rate? So now they got these treasuries that are worth nothing. they don't have the money to back the losses of the defaults on the office building bust. Banks are going to go bust. No one is talking about this because when the banks go bust, that's going to crash the equity markets and the global economy. And if you don't believe me, go back a little over a year ago. Signature Bank, First Republic, and Silicon Valley Bank went bust. 3 banks. Markets went way down, gold prices went way up. That was 3 banks. Now, according to some data, you almost have 300 banks that are facing maximum defaults from office buildings going bust. That is the biggest economic issue that we see. Again, out of the news, nobody's talking about it.
Well, I want to touch on the broad market here, specifically the AI craze led by NVIDIA, but certainly we've got Microsoft, Meta, Google, Apple, the Magnificent Seven, whatever you want to call them. They're all participating in this seemingly never-ending rally. It does seem completely absurd that these companies continue to be valued the way that they have been, yet here we are. Is this a case of the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent? What is the catalyst that it would take? Is it this banking crisis that you think will ultimately bring these overvalued stocks down?
You go to the Trends Journal back in 1999. Back then it was a quarterly. Now it's a weekly. .com this was the major story. We had forecast that the stock market would crash. It would be a .com bust by the second quarter of 2000. It happened in March of 2000. AI is different. Back then, it was the beginning of the internet revolution. And they were making up stuff. I mean, I'm saying what they're talking about makes no sense. It makes no sense. This thing's going to go down. This is different. Yeah, they're way overvalued, a lot of them, but it's going to continue. One of our top trends for 2024 is AI, we own you. It's the future. So, yes, they're overvalued. Yes, they're driving up the market. You look at the Russell 2000, it's flat, down. Those are small businesses. Look at the retail sector. The targets, one after another. Again, write about it. Yeah. In this week's magazine, we did a whole, where is it here? A whole section on, we have one of them is the banks go bust section. And here we go. Spotlight, retail on the ropes. Swedish clothier warns of weak sales, higher costs. German consumers are even more gloomy now. Walgreens cuts outlook, close more stores. Glove Nike forecast. On and on, one after another. So that has nothing to do with AI. But you have to look at who's running the show. This was from Business Insider. This was a study called Hidden Power of the Big Three. The researchers state that BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard are the largest shareholders in 88% of the S&P 500 firms. Together, they are the largest shareholders of 40% of all U.S. companies. She got a small group running the whole show. There's going to be a crash. It's just a matter of when, not if. And definitely the booming AI sector, the so-called Magnificent Seven, could be the fuel that sets that off. But again, this is very different than the .com bust. Because the other aspect of it that's very important is there's going to be a lot of job losses. There's no question about it. AI is going to journalism's dead. It's gone. Finished. Finito. And one after another. They're getting rid of people. into all of the fast food. Everybody going more and more and more in manufacturing in AI as much as they can do to cut labor costs.
So I want to get your thoughts on the current state of U.S. debt, because according to the Congressional Budget Office, it is expected to exceed $54 trillion by 2034. We're already at nearly $35 trillion. These numbers are so crazy that it's difficult to even conceive of them. Is the end result going to be a catastrophic collapse, a slow hollowing out of the middle class as inflation marches on, or some other outcome? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's going to crash the dollar at some point. And the dollar is going to go down when they lower interest rates. That's the only reason the dollar is strong. And much of the world has had enough of America's economic and geopolitical hegemony. The BRICS are going to get bigger, and they're going to do everything they can to get rid of the dollar. And it's ridiculous. There's no solving this problem. The debt's not going to be paid off. You're looking at it adding $1 trillion every 100 days to the debt level. And now you have high interest rates, so it's even costing more to service the debt. There's no way they're going to ever do it. But the middle classes just keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The data came out that they did a study of like over 500 counties in the United States, and 80% of the houses were unaffordable to the middle class. And then again, going back to the bigs, back in 2023, he bought almost 30% of the homes, and then they rent them to people. And that happened, by the way, with the with the panic of '08. And that was caused, part of it, by the subprime mortgages. You don't have a job, you're deep in debt, don't worry about it. Sign over here, you could buy a house. So whenever all these foreclosures happen, the Blackstones and the others started buying up all of these homes. And they're going to be the owners. America, I call it plantation workers of Slavelandia. The middle class is dead. Here's some data right here. Let's see. According to a report published by ATTOM, ATTOM, which examined 572 U.S. counties and determined that median priced homes is about 80% of those in those areas are out of reach for the average income earner, who makes $71,214. In fact, the major home ownership expense on typical homes sold during the second quarter required an annual income of almost $91,000 in order to consider affordable, which is 25% higher than the average national income. What middle class?
Now, in the latest issue of the Trends Journal, you wrote, Americans have traded a government with allegiance to the British crown for a clown show with allegiance to the highest bidder, while we, the people of Slavelandia, remain distracted by professional sports, fattened up by fast food, and ignorant to our freedoms vanishing before our eyes. Is this all by design? Is this simply the outcome of human stupidity and ignorance? Something in between? What brought us to this place where we are right now?
It's stupidity and ignorance. Do I give a damn if, who's Taylor Swift screwing or Guy Timberlake got arrested for DWI? I mean, what are you talking? What are you telling me this crap for? Go to the Cartoon News Network, CNN, today. Front page story. A guy from one of the richest families in India is getting married. They're going to have a lavish wedding. What are you telling me this shit for? Why are you telling me this? There's no news anymore. Journalism's gone. Again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. A little slime ball, an arrogant piece of crap, a little warmongering guy that couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag, bombs away over Baghdad every time he got caught with his pants down, Bill Clinton, in 1996 gave us the Federal Communications Act that allowed the bigs to buy up everything. There were thousands of independent radio stations, television stations, newspapers back then. Now 6 companies own 92% of the media. So if you believe in crap, you listen to Fox crap. If you believe in different kind of crap, you listen to NPR crap. So whatever crap you believe in, those are the stations that you tune into. That's the attitude. Rather than what in the world is going on, what do I have to know? And by knowing this, what can I do? No, that's not allowed anymore. You have to be on a side. And so the journalism is dead. And, you know, we're the last of it. Yeah, it's a joke. Here, this is from the New York Times. Look at the big picture they have here. What do I need this big picture for? You know why? Because once upon a time, you go back, Google it up, New York Times, 1970s. No pictures. Maybe a little picture here and there. They had no journalists. They fired everybody. And in America, as we're talking about, the British are taking over. This is the country we fought against. Who's running CNN? Oh, somebody from the UK. Who's running the Wall Street Journal? Oh, someone from the UK. Washington Post. Oh, someone from the UK. Bloomberg. Oh, someone from the UK. Daily Call. Oh, someone from the UK. One after another. It's gone. You're not getting journalism. They're prostitutes. They're media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and their government whoremasters.
I want to circle back to what you were talking about when it came to the BRICS trying to de-dollarize, because I speak to a lot of people about that and I get answers all across the spectrum from those who are very doubtful and say, well, the BRICS nations can't even trust each other. Russia's not a trustworthy country. China's not a trustworthy country. So how could they possibly work together and make an impact? I have those on the other end of the extreme who say de-dollarization is imminent. You know, the rising East is going to crush the West, and everything in between. So I'm wondering where you see the BRICS story at present. And also, kind of as a side question, if you think the BRICS gold-backed currency, this mythical currency that's been kind of talked about for some time now, is that something you think will actually come to pass?
I think it will. I think gold will be, it was forever, it only changed. What did you began to saying that Russia's not trustworthy, America's not, China's not trustworthy? Is that the language you used? Oh,
yeah, that's what some guests have said on my show when it comes to BRICS.
Okay,
yeah.
America's trustworthy. Germany's trustworthy. Oh, France is trustworthy. Oh, the UK is so trustworthy. Oh, yeah. What are they talking to 6-year-olds? Trustworthy? Look at the little freaks running the show. Trustworthy? Grow the hell up. They've had enough of America. They've had enough. Gold. All right. Tell you a quick gold story. I have a photograph of me and John Connally. John Connally was the governor of Texas that sat in front of JFK and took the bullet in the back when they slaughtered Kennedy. He wanted to meet me because in this book, Trend Tracking, that I wrote in 89, I had forecast a new third party, and someone like Ross Perot would be the candidate. So he wanted to meet me. So I met him in Dallas. I have a photograph, I'll show it to you later, of me, him, and his wife in front of the book depository where Kennedy got assassinated. His first time back since the assassination. And he said to me, we're going back into the Anatole Hotel. This has to do with gold. I read your book. He said, it's a fine piece of work. And I know your heart's in the right place. But you don't have a clue what's going on. And neither do the American people. Now remember, this is the John Connally that was the governor, Democratic governor of Texas that took the bullet in the back. He was also the U.S. Treasury Secretary under the Republican Richard Nixon. that took us off the gold standard in 1971. They invented this thing about taking us off the gold standard so they could keep creating fake money backed by nothing and printed on nothing. Again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. I grew up during the 70s. I got born in 46. I was there in the 70s when inflation was skyrocketing. What brought inflation up? Oh, you forgot about the Vietnam War? When they pumped all this fake money in to keep fighting that war? No, we're not going to talk about that. Nobody talks about it. Inflation was skyrocketing. They got rid of gold so they could keep dumping fake money into the system. Go back to the COVID war. Go home. Close down your business. Hey, here's money. Don't worry about it. What did Trump dump in? Like $4 trillion, $3 trillion or something? Biden another couple of trillion more? Where'd you get this money from? Where'd you get this money from? So yeah, the dollar's going to die. It's not a matter of when, if, it's a matter of when. And when they start lowering interest rates, the dollar's going to go way down. And price of gold is going to go way up. And we don't give financial advice either. We just tell you this is the way we see it, and this is why. Do what you want. Think for yourself is the motto of the Trends Journal.
So the war machine continues to march on, both in regards to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the Israel-Palestine conflict. It appears that no one in the Western world wants peace. Quite the opposite. There appears to be a lot of warmongering in the traditional media, a lot of people pushing, particularly when it comes to Russia, Ukraine. We need to give Ukraine more weapons, more F-16s, more tanks. Everybody needs to come together. The only option is for them to crush the Russians and achieve a total victory. Otherwise, it's over for democracy, for the Western world. What will the ultimate impact of these conflicts going on be? And are we on the precipice of a full-blown third world war?
World War III has already begun. It was the cover of our Trends Journal magazine 2 days before the Ukraine war began. February 22nd, 2022. From COVID war to Ukraine war to World War. Just something's going to make it official. And the official thing is going to be a false flag that will get the people in, to support it. And again, one after another, they're saying it's begun. It's begun, and they're not going to stop. And in Israel, I got to write about this stuff week after week. We have the whole article in this week's Trends Journal about Iran saying that if you attack Lebanon, we're going to attack you, and we're going to wipe you out. Yeah, people got to get to Israel's only a country, about 8-10 million people in it? That's it. You're not going to beat all these other people. Look what happened when the Israelis assassinated that commander in Damascus, Syria, in their consulate. And Iran retaliated by sending in loads of drones and missiles. They didn't kill people. They sent them into specific areas to show what they could do. It cost Israel $1.3 billion to blow up those. What was their retaliation? Almost nothing. These are the Persians. They've been around a long time. They're very advanced people. And so the war's already begun. And as I say, when all else fails, they take you to war. People forgot about the 39 weeks of judicial protest against Netanyahu for his judicial reform, because he's being brought up on charges, and he wanted to use judicial reform so he wouldn't have to go to be brought up on them. 39 weeks, not my language, the language of the Prime Minister of Israel, Isaac Herzog. Again, this is before October 7th. Israel is in a civil war. There was a civil war. Hamas attacks, all forgotten. When all else fails, they take you to war. What followed the dot-com bust? The war on terror. What followed the Great Depression? World War II. I tell everybody, Google up Franklin Roosevelt seizes Japanese assets in July of 1941. Google it up. History Today, mainstream. Seized all Japanese assets. The British and the Dutch put sanctions on Japan that cut off 3/4 of their global trade and 88% of their imported oil. They only import 100%. You cut off 3/4 of their trade, stole their money, and you know why? Those dirty Japanese invaded French Indochina. Wait a minute. Number one, I'm an American. What the hell do I care what happened in French Indochina? And what is the French Foreign Legion doing in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos? And you're calling it French Indochina? What am I, 6 years old? Why, of course you are. You listen to my crap. I'm the president. Oh, what are you doing over there? Oh, we're stealing their tin, their rubber, rape, pillage, murder. Oh, and those dirty Japanese took over Cameron Air Force Base, which is only 800 miles from the United States base in the Philippines. What the hell are we doing in the Philippines? Oh, and the British were in Singapore. What the hell are the British doing? Well, the sun never sets on the British Empire. We could steal anything we want. All right? 80% of the people in America were against getting involved in World War II. Pearl Harbor happens, off to war. They're going to do the same thing.
So let's switch from the past of Japan to the present, because the Japanese yen continues to melt down versus the US dollar, reaching lows not seen since 1986. What is the economic fate of Japan here, and are they a canary in the coal mine for the global economy?
They definitely are. Again, how long have they had negative and zero interest rates, trying to artificially prop up the economy? And they cause this on themselves. They're raising them a tiny little bit, which isn't enough. No, it's definitely the canary in the coal mine. But that's going to also cause the United States to lower interest rates, because developing and emerging markets, they're lowering their interest rates. And it's one big club. You go back to the Great Depression. When England was going down, they asked the United States not to raise interest rates before the crash of 29. And the United States didn't raise them. Well, they were raising them. And they're going to do the same thing now. They're going to have to lower interest rates so the other countries don't go down. And it's only a matter of time. And I think the time is coming, definitely by September in the United States. But again, very important, as the lower interest rates go, the deeper the dollar falls. The deeper the dollar falls, the higher gold prices rise. And again, one of our top trends for 2024 is golden year for gold. Gold prices have gone up over $300 an ounce since we made that forecast. And as the way the geopolitical and socioeconomic trends are going, we can see gold hitting $3,000 this year an ounce. And again, we're also very bullish on silver, and Bitcoin's a bet. You know, we're betting on Bitcoin. That's a bet. You know, that as we look at it, but we're very bullish on it.
Yes, I'm very bullish on all of those three assets as well. Gerald, it's been a fantastic conversation. Always love having a discussion with you. For those who want to learn more, tell us about the Trends Journal, what it is you do there, and where people can find it.
It's a weekly magazine. It's over 180 pages each week, between 180, 200 pages. No ads. Nobody tells us what to do. And you can listen to it. It's in different languages. And people say, I can't read 100. It's a magazine. You read what you want to read. You want to read about geopolitics. You want to read about high-tech science. You want to read about technocracy. You want to read about AI. You want to read about, whatever you want to read about, we have it. But like no other magazine in the world, it's trend focused. They don't know how to do trend forecasting. They don't teach it at Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford. They don't know how to do it. We're the only trends magazine in the world. If you Google up Trends Magazine, they come up with crap like, these are the latest fashion trends. You're like, get out of here. What are you doing? Those aren't trends. That's made up garbage. And it's for the grand total of $2.56 a week. Nothing. And if you don't like it, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. We're giving you what nobody else in the world is giving you. Again, it's history before it happens. You look at the cover of our magazine. A week ago, it was America falling, and we had Biden falling down all over the place. And then 2 days before the debate, the cover of the magazine was Presidential Reality Show, The Great Debate, Daffy Duck versus Goofy. That's exactly what it was. That these are the two people leading America. But again, look around the world. You got that little Gaston Macron over there in France. Now they got Le Pen taking. Oh, Le Pen. It's one after another. Olaf Scholz over in Germany. Sunak over in the UK. Before him, a cartoon character that the best cartoonist in the world couldn't come up with, a freaky little jerk than Boris Johnson. Look at the world. So we're helping people prepare, prevail, and prosper in these difficult times ahead. We're doing everything we can to give them the best we can. Trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com. It's the only magazine in the world where you'll read history before it happens.
Well, thank you so much once again for coming on the show, Gerald. I will put a link in the description below to the Trends Journal for those who want to check it out, and always enjoy our discussions.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us today. As a reminder, this episode is sponsored by ARC Silver Gold Osmium. For all your precious metals needs, head to arcsgo.com and contact owner Ian Everard today at 307-264-9441 or by email at ian@arcsgo.com, and make sure to tell him that Commodity Culture sent you. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Commodity Culture is a series on commodities and natural resources. If you would like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're always up to date with the latest episodes.